Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the URC. It is the final round before the playoffs. The Bulls, they have secured their top 8 spot. Benetton, they have not. But the Bulls at this point in time, they can potentially climb a little bit further in the overall rankings. Just looking at the way that it sits after Cardiff were able to get themselves the win over the Stormers just yesterday. It means that if the Bulls were able to win this game with a bonus point, they could not just go above Cardiff, but they'd also go above Leinster just for now. Now, Leinster have their game later on up against the Ospreys. We know that the Lions are playing Munster after that one, so that will determine the final spot in the top 8, whether it's going to be Munster or Ulster, but still a lot that can happen for the final games of the regular season. Looking through at the starting lineups for these two sides, the Bulls have made a couple shuffles compared to what they did go with in last week's game, but starting in the front row, it is Harold Stennekamp alongside Johan Robelaar and also Wilco Low as the number 3, Cobus Visa alongside the captain Ruan Nokia as the number 5, Jandre Rudolph plays 6, Elric Low number 7, and then at number 8 it is Cameron Honeycomb in the 19 combination. Ambros Papier back in the starting side with Andre Pollard at 10, so they have switched away from what they tried last week, having Willie LaRue get that chance as the starting fly half with Arunsa playing number 15, Sergil Pedersen out on the left wing, Harold Foster and Kanan Moody as the midfield, Devon Williams out on the right and Willie LaRue as the number 15 in the starting lineup for Benetton. It is Nahul Titas Chaparro as the front rower alongside Bautista Bernasconi and Pasquale as the 3, Medina and Federico Rosa make up the locking duo with Favretto, Canoni and Faaso as the number 8, Alessandro Garbisi and Reino Smith as the 9 and 10 combination. So Smith normally actually finds himself at the back for this Benetton side, but due to the absence of, I believe it would normally be Garbisi in the number 10. No, who's Garbisi play for? He plays in France. Who do they normally have at 10 Benetton? Normally Jacob Umaga, but he is suspended or injured, I believe, at the moment. So Smith comes in there. Out on the wing, it is Zanandrea. And then in the midfield, Medina and Odogwu. And then also Lewis Liner, Matt Gallagher as that number 15. So, those are the teams. The way that the table sits, the Bulls have a chance of being able to advance forward, which is very exciting. But the question is, will they have a home quarter final? If they did lose this game somehow, which I will say the chances are extremely slim. Heading into this contest, the Bulls come in as the biggest favourite of the whole round. By a big margin too. But if they were to somehow lose this game without a bonus point, Cardiff would finish above them. They would play Cardiff in Cardiff for the quarterfinals. Whereas if they win this game and they go above of Cardiff, or even if they just get enough bonus points, they will have the home game more than likely up against Cardiff. Or it may even be a South African derby. The Bulls versus Lions at Loftus could also be on the card. Will this take us to the Munster match? It should do at the end of it, yes. There is a Leinster versus Ospreys game in between, but we aren't actually covering that one on the channel. That one, for me, seems pretty straightforward. This game should be straightforward, like I said, biggest favourite of the round, but you just never know. The Bulls, they look stacked on paper. They've had some very good form as of late. They've got to get the job done in the 80 minutes. So, Hamish Hope all as well, says Kevin. And Reno is South Africa's, says Kevin. And also, hi all, and I hope you're sneezing free today, says Robert. I haven't sneezed in a little while, so that's a bonus. So, hopefully that is the way that it will stay. But looking through at in terms of recent fixtures for these two sides. Now, notably, the Bulls, because of being knocked out of the Champions Cup in the round of 16, they've had quite a few weeks where they haven't been in action. They've been relatively fresh. They had that close game up against the Scarlets, 21 points to 23, but outside of that, we have seen them have a couple pretty dominating wins up against the Dragons as well as Zebra. Now, notably, also facing up against the Glasgow Warriors in that round of 16. They did lose that game. That was a home game to the Glasgow Warriors, and because of Glasgow finishing top of the bunch, that could happen again. Not the result, but the fact that it could be a home game for this Glasgow side at some point up against the Bulls for Benetton. They've been a busy side. They were in the quarterfinal of the Challenge Cup, although they were eventually beaten by Exeter. They lost to Munster. They pulled off an upset and a half up against Leinster, winning that game 29 points to 26. They really weren't supposed to win that game, but no one told them that. They just went out there, played a great game of rugby and managed to narrowly get past one of the toughest sides, and then a big win for the Sharks just last week, 46 points to 7. Okay, this is interesting. They've got the Vodacom Man of the Match nominees, Johan Krobler, Devin Williams, Matt Gallagher, and a couple others. The game hasn't even started. How can you have nominations? Unless they were just practicing. Maybe they were just doing a trial run for later on. But predetermined Man of the Match candidates is a brave thing to do because, of course, sometimes a player who you think is going to go well doesn't do just that. I'm actually going to go back. Who were the 5? They had Gallagher. They had Elric Lowe, Devin Williams, Federico Ruza, Johan Krobler. So we'll keep an eye out for those guys, ladies and gents. See whether or not any of them get themselves the Man of the Match award for this contest. But looking through at what is to come. Now, of course, some of these games have already taken place. We're up to here at the moment, the halfway line. The Bulls versus Benetton the first, then Leinster Ospreys and Scarlets Dragons does overlap with each other. But as you can see there, Leinster come in as quite heavy favourites for that matchup. And then Munster versus the Lions. That will determine who gets the last spot. Lions are secure, though. It's just whether or not Munster get knocked out and Ulster get to remain, or vice versa. How's our Hamish says, Yanko, welcome in. If you are doing extremely well, I'll be honest, it's going to be quite nice because there's only one game taking place at this stage during this period. So compared to what happened yesterday, when 3 games were all happening, and they were all very eventful in their own rights, 2 of the games nice and close, with Glasgow versus Ulster going down to the wire. Ulster all but managing to pull off that victory. That would have opened up the door for a side like Leinster to be able to finish top of the table. Instead, now they can finish as high as second and take a home semi-final away from the Stormers if they do end up having 2 favourites get themselves the victory. But Ambros Papier, he's going to be a danger man back into the side. He is a very handy player. What channel are you on? I'm on URC TV. Seeing as the URC isn't on TVNZ anymore, sadly. 24 degrees, partly cloudy, nice warm conditions for this contest. The sun is out. The crowd is out as well, watching on for this game. There is half a chance, and I'm saying a very slim one, that this is the last home game for the Bulls this year. Now, the only way that that happens is if the Bulls lose this game as the biggest favourite. And I'd like to think after the way that Benetton played last week up against the Sharks, that this win should be pretty secure for the Bulls. But again, URC last round, there's always a little bit of drama. We've already seen quite a bit of it throughout the first day. How bad was the Stormers turned out to be in the end. See, it's Juan Pierre Bosch. Yeah, they struggled. They changed their tactics, and I have no idea why. They decided to go more 3-point orientated up against the Cardiff side, and it cost them. In the end, they went almost negative in the mindset, which is something that felt so unnatural in the way that they have been playing throughout the season. They're the side with the best points differential out of anyone in the competition, and it makes sense when you see the way that they normally attack. But they went away from that, only scoring 1 try throughout the 80 minutes, so not quite the confidence boost that they would want heading into the quarterfinals. And at this stage, at this point in time, of course, a lot can change in just the next few moments, ladies and gents, in the 80 minutes, and also that game between the Lions and Munster later on. But at this point in time, I will say it's not going to be that. I was going to say at this point in time on the table, it's Stormers versus Lions, but I believe Leinster will go ahead of the Stormers unless something drastic happens. I believe that the Bulls will be just behind Stormers because of that bonus point that the Stormers side got right at the end of their contest. So you stick the Stormers in third realistically, which means that they would be playing 6th place team. I think it will be Cardiff, if I'm being honest with you. No. Yeah, because the Bulls will go above, and then I believe the Lions or Munster will then go above Connacht, and potentially Cardiff as well, because of the amount of wins and also points differential. So, yeah, I think Stormers Cardiff, we could see a rematch, but this time it will happen in South Africa for the quarterfinals. Are you covering all the quarterfinals and just the South African ones? No idea yet, to be honest with you. As long as there's no overlaps with any other competitions or anything, we'll probably cover all 4. But there's also 7s on that weekend, so I have to try and balance everything. There's going to be Super Rugby on too, and also I'm allowed to say a little bit, but not too much as of yet, but there is going to be some sort of half-by competition thingy-mabob happening on the channel too, so I don't know whether that's going to carry over to the URC games or whether it's just on Super Rugby streams, but there could be some sort of quiz type of setup happening while these streams are taking place, which will result in you guys potentially winning some merchandise to do with the sides in the games. But that is all still to be confirmed at this point in time. But that would be the weekend of it, the quarterfinal side of things. If Cardiff played Stormers in Cape Town, they're getting buried, says Yanko. Yeah, although I wouldn't guarantee it, only because of the fact that people said that they were going to get buried in Cardiff and they didn't. So I don't completely trust Cardiff. I've mentioned it time and time again. They are one of the only sides inside of the top 8 that I have absolutely no idea about when it comes to they can go from their best game of rugby to their worst in just 1 week. But when they play their best rugby, they're very tough to beat. When they play their worst rugby, they have big score lines put on them. So it depends on what Cardiff side shows up. But they'll have at least the bragging rights of saying, hey, we beat you 2 weeks ago. We made it look easy. Let's see if we can do it again. What could a win do for Munster? Where would they take them on the table? Well, first of all, Munster need a bonus point no matter what from their game. That's the first step. But a win for Munster would put them up to around that probably 5th place position, depending on the substantialness, whether or not they get a bonus point from that game too. But Reno Smith ready to kick this one off, and we are underway for Bulls versus Benetton. Another match in the URC. The Bulls, they need a big win here, or just a win in general, to pop them up into the top 4. It is a brutal one for the likes of the Lions and the Bulls. They've been watching all these other sides go ahead of them in the overall standings. Now kick towards the touchline. And oh no, in fact, he's going to keep it in the field of play. Nice take there from Matt Gallagher. And that number 15 jersey, Reno Smith, looking for the kick in behind. There is a bit of space, but straight away jumping on it. And kicking this one downfield is Willie LaRue. Nicely done. We have got the happy days. Bulls playing cold lagers and Hamish. Perfect Saturday, thank you. Says Robert. Johan Ackerman sitting there chowing some biltong before kickoff. Yeah, you see a few of the coaches, they've had their little jars of lollies and whatnot, but he's obviously gone, no, just give me the biltong instead. Give me a bit of protein before the matchup. Just like they did to Connacht. Says the real pie man. And also, oh no, we read that one about how bad the Stormers turned out. And Cardiff game yesterday was played on plastic grass. And a wet Cape Town, it would be very different. Why does Cape Town have to be wet? Surely they'll get some nice weather at some stage, won't they? Like, on a dry Cape Town turf, like the fact that it's not on the artificial turf should still be a little bit of a difference maker. Now going away to the left-hand side here. Good quick hands from Alessandro Garbisi. Did you mean to sleep yet? I got like an hour, which I think is about all I'm going to get before Monday. Now going away to the right-hand side. Big knock on there from Benetton, picked up by Cameron Honeycomb. He's got the numbers on his left-hand side, moving it on nicely. Billy LaRue goes to Kanan Moody. Didn't look to pass it. More to Devin Williams, who is playing, interestingly enough, in that number 11 jersey for this contest, which means there might have been a late change for this Bulls side. I'm just looking through trying to find who's playing number 14, because initially it was going to be, oh no, sorry, Williams is 11, Sergio Peterson, number 14, kicked him behind. Reno Smith, that's an awkward bouncing ball. There's a bit of a slip too. Williams trying to wrestle him down 5 metres out from their own line. Bit of a counter ruck from the Bulls. Stays on the side of Benetton. A strange team, Cardiff, only team in the quarters with negative points difference. Yeah, that's the other side of things that confuses me about Cardiff. You know, you look through at the top 10 and that is the one that really stands out. The fact that they have got the points differential in the minus. But yeah, they either win big or lose big, I think is their reality. Or every once in a while they'll have a close game along the way. But yeah, they're unpredictable, to say the very least. That ball into Dutch, Johan Robelaar. Now we'll have the line-out force win. Yeah, I did see that. Super Rugby's very close at the moment. 10 sides can still make it through to the playoffs, and we've only got 2 rounds remaining. The only side that can't, unfortunately for them, is Moana Pacifica. They've got a couple games still to come, though. Nice take from Ruan Nokia. Captain at the line-out, and Bros Papier. Short pop pass. Harold Foster goes up to Moody. He had his eyes focused on the try line. That man recently has forgotten what a pass is. That's a wide cutout one from Pollard, though, and Sergio Peterson will score it near the corner. And the first try of the match now for this Bulls side. And I am go the Bulls. So here's Joe Man. We have it there. I'll be back at 6:30 for the Munster game. Good night. See you fortnight. So we will see you later on. And Dusty Ball. says young toe, but a good run from Kane Moody. And from there, just a good wide cutout pass from Pollard. The assist goes to him back in that 10 jersey rather than making his way off the bench. Excellent by Moody, says Jimbo. But now 4 minutes in. And a tough kick for Pollard to start his day off. He's looking into the sun. 41 metres, far side of the field. He might be able to just shape this one round with a bit of right to left. Normally wherever it is on the park within the half, he's got a pretty decent chance of knocking it over. And he did exactly what was described. Bit of right to left, over it goes. And the score now 7-0 for the Bulls after the first 4.5 minutes of the game. But Sergio Peterson getting the first try of the contest. It's a very strong pass from Pollard, though, out to Peterson, getting it quick and snappy to the winger. And snipers there's Jimbo. And there as well. Now Reno Smith. He only kicked off 5 minutes ago. Now he's kicking off again. And to be fair to Benetton, they had a decent chance inside of the Bulls 22. He was way in front of the halfway line. I assume we've scrapped that law for now. Depends on who the ref is too. Some referees will ping you for that. And they'll choose to ping you for it at the worst possible times when it's a close game or something along those lines. Not that this game is expected to be one. Now Johan Robillard tackled there by Pasquale. It looks like Pierre is again going to be rolling this one back, setting up for the kick. Ice man doesn't miss many. Says Joe Man. And luckily I haven't jinxed him there because who was it? Chris Smith last week for the Lions. I said that man just doesn't miss inside of his half. And then he missed his first 2, I think it was, or he missed about 3 for the day. Now going away to the left-hand side. It's popped up. Federico Russo. Oh, it's called as a knock-on. So it is going to be the scrum feed now for the Vodacom Bulls. It's a side that do love a bit of scrum dominance. And it is something that has carried them to some very good victories throughout this season. As you get closer to the playoff rugby stages, you want to be able to back your set piece. Probably a little bit unlucky with that call, Nahul Tetas Chaparro. That kind of looked like it did, don't get me wrong, he dropped it, but it did travel in a backwards direction to Federico Ruza on his shoulder. And now scrum feed for the Bulls. Do let me know your score predictions for this game too, ladies and gents. I know that this is one of those trickier games to work out. 930 kg pack weight for the Bulls compared to the 906 of Benetton, a side that were beaten by over 30 points last week. The Bulls, they were victorious last week in their contest. That's a front row going down. I've got another reset when the Lions playing my second best New Zealand friend. Says, cool story, they are playing in around 4.5 hours. Is when their game's going to be taking place. So a little bit of time before that match gets underway. 38-21 is Ben's prediction there. He's given some decent credit to Benetton in that regard. I just want to quickly check on the table. Benetton, if they were... Oh, no. Okay, never mind. I was about to say, if they were to overtake Edinburgh, they'd need to win this game with a bonus point. That would be tricky to do at Loftus, although we have seen away sides do it this year. We saw the Lions do it at one stage earlier on, but it would take quite a monumental effort. Nice little late burst from the Sharks too in their final 2 games, but maybe just outside of that top 6. That is a penalty going the way of the Bulls, and that is for the front row of Benetton standing up. I think we're going to see a bit of rinse and repeat from the Bulls when it comes to the set piece today, just fully trying to dominate. One's going to be booted into touch by Andre Pollard. They'll be about 22 metres out from the Benetton line now. Wilco doing Wilco things. Yeah, it's going to be very hard to stop a raging Wilco in a scrum. I don't know how the scrum capper Johan Robillard got so twisted in that scrum. Oh, no, not straight. Throw from the Bulls. Oh, 9 and 6, 2 receivers. So it was actually straight, but it was a mistake when it came to the numbers game of Bulls. So Benetton will get themselves the free kick. Reno Smith just asked the question, am I allowed to kick this out on the full? Referee says no. And Bulls no contest. 50-25, 42-8. And Stormers versus Connacht. Says one Pierre Bosch. And also we have got this. It was a particularly good thing Ulster lost regarding the Lions. Yeah, if Ulster hadn't lost, that Lions-Munster game would have been a playoff. And it could have been that the Lions once again narrowly missed out on the top 8, which has been something that's almost a trend from the last couple of years. And I said it earlier on that Stormers live stream that the Lions would be so unlucky to miss out again with how well they've played. I know 4G Stormers will turn up for that game. Says Juan Pierre. I think he was referencing the game when the Stormers lost to Cardiff, or sorry, not to Cardiff, to Connacht in Cape Town. But, yeah, it's a rarity for them to lose to a Northern Hemisphere side in Cape Town for the Stormers. Definitely when it comes to the playoff side of things. Every year of the URC, we have seen a South African side in the final, and they certainly won't want to break that trend now. Now going away to the left-hand side. To be fair, the Bulls have been in about 3 finals, and they're yet to win the thing. The Stormers, the only South African side to pick up the URC trophy this stage and looking to go double. Get it again this year. Nice stake there for Villy LaRue. I feel sorry for the Stormers, says Mohadeen. I'll say what I said yesterday. Don't feel sorry for the Stormers. Feel sorry for the Sharks. You know, at least the Stormers have a playoff game coming up around the corner. The Sharks do not. And they've got multiple Springboks at their disposal. But that is another penalty, not releasing, going against Benetton there in the breakdown from Federico Rosa. So, kick downfield, Andre Pollard getting some good distance on it at Loftus. I remember you saying that and quickly reversed my support for Ulster with about 7 minutes to go on the match, says Cool Story. Yeah, that one was close too, wasn't it? Ulster almost managing to get the victory, but Glasgow doing what Glasgow do and getting the late try from George Horn, a man who's been so consistent for them throughout this year. Storm is heroes at home, 0 overseas, says Ben. What happens if the Bulls win? The Bulls technically can only go as high as 4th. That is due to the bonus point that the Stormers got. So even though they did struggle in their game up against Cardiff, they did enough to get within 7. So the bonus point was on the cards, and that then meant that they could not be overtaken, or else we could have seen a semi-final potentially for a Bulls home game rather than a Stormers one. Now, Bros Papier on across. That is, of course, if Leinster were to somehow lose to the Ospreys. There's still a lot of technicalities that have to happen by that stage. Andre Rudolph with a good carry forward. Now across Ruan Nokia. Drop ball from the captain, although they'll go back for the advantage. That is for offside against Benetton. And I think the Bulls will be smart enough here to go for the corner rather than taking on a 3. Stormers not going for tries and taking 3. Yeah, that was weird. For a side that have the best points differential because of scoring a lot of tries. You know, you got players in the 4-pack like Evan Roos, the leading try scorer of the comp, and you decide that taking a 3-pointer multiple times is the best option. Now, to their credit, they at least got those kicks over, because it could have been a lot worse if they had missed those kicks at the post. But, yeah, I think as soon as they went down the 3-point route, their wheels kind of fell off, the Stormers. So I'll be interested to see what they do in playoff rugby, whether or not they have the mindset of any points is crucial in a final, or whether they look at the option of, right, we'll do what we've done throughout the year and see if it gets us further. Now running this one forward, just short, another advantage at the moment in play. Now Andre Pollard, unselfish there, passes across to Villy LaRue, and he will score the try next to the post. Pollard, 2 assists, and Villy LaRue and Sergio Peterson, the 2 men who have run in the tries. Stormers cannot play running rugby, but Pollard, Bulls attacking machine, must tries in URC. We have got there, also Kiwi Lad loves South Africa, says Brenton. And I feel sorry for Sasha, he's not ready. But Sasha's an interesting option because, you know, he had a rough game up against Cardiff, but he's also the type of player who could have a man of the match performance in the quarterfinals. So with a young player, you kind of got to ride the good with the bad in terms of form. You know, every once in a while, as a young player, you're going to have a shocker. But it's what you do in those games where you do extremely well that kind of gets you that little bit more of the reputation of being world class. And Sasha's had some brilliant games this year. And Sharks had a decent game once again, 2 tries for Sia. In his last game, almost got a hat-trick. Fusimoyo scored on debut. And Siaya got a really nice one too, but alas, too little too late. Yeah. And it's something that Shark supporters have dealt with multiple times. Their side in the important games not showing up, and then in games near the end of the season when, like, when the games don't matter, that's when the Sharks do well. And it's very frustrating watching a side like that who have got so much potential make so many regular season mistakes. They were another side that went a bit defensive about halfway through the year, taking on or going against trying to get a bonus point when looking for the win. What do you think about the rumours that South Africa Rugby are considering leaving the Champions and Challenge Cup? It makes sense. They haven't found success in the competitions yet. And also, it does bring their squad pretty thin. Now, of course, all the other sides have to deal with it as well. But I think that a lot of other teams, and I have to be careful how I say this because people will want to try and twist it. But a lot of other sides, there will be the good and the bad about South Africa being out, but a lot of them will be happy they don't have to travel to South Africa anymore to play in the Champions Cup. They'll be disappointed that they don't get to play the strongest sides out of South Africa, but they won't miss that massive plane ride downwards to play a game of the Champions Cup and then have to fly back up for their regular competitions. They'll be happy enough to fly to France, fly to England, fly to Ireland, but going on that halfway around the world trip down south, it's pretty brutal on not just the South African sides, but also the sides that are heading down there too. Well, there was a soft drive. Pollard and Villy made it look easy. Yeah, I think Pollard could have scored it himself, but he decided to unselfishly pass that across to Villy Leroux on his inside. Now, going to be the line out here. Nice throw in from Bernasconi. Now, this is a good rolling maul here for Benetton. It's going to be dragged down illegally by the Bulls, so they will get themselves in a little bit of trouble. I'd like to think that it wouldn't quite be a yellow card as of yet because of how far out from the line that it was, but it's definitely not what you want to start doing. In this part of the field, Reno Smith, they asked to win a penalty advantage. Good stepping from Matt Gallagher, but Sir John Peterson got him round the ankles, and they'll go back now for the penalty. Be very glad that South African teams only focus on the URC and Currie Cup. Champions Cup is too much rugby, says Albert. Yeah, and, you know, it's one thing seeing it all on a schedule, right? And I think that's what has kind of happened in a way. They've looked at the schedule and gone, yeah, that'll be fine. But then in reality, you know, you're playing rugby every single week. The only benefit that they've had in some regards is because of being knocked out early, you get a little bit more of a rest before these playoff games. And you'd have to argue quite a few of the South African sides seem like they've improved a little bit with having those couple bye weeks thrown in there. We have got there, makes total sense. Box also travel a lot further than the Six Nations countries, says Jimbo. That is true. Can you do Japan game Saturday? Japan game? Which Japan game are we talking? Like an international Japanese game or like a random game from the Japanese top league? Line out throw here. Bernasconi once again gets it into Federico Ruza. I missed like 7 messages in that middle. Where's Haino? He's actually at the game, which is why he was not free for any commentary this weekend. Now rolling forward. They are over Benetton, or are they? No, they've dropped the ball over the try line. Massive mistake. Adolf Foster's taken it, but they'll go back for the initial knock on. So it becomes a goal line dropout by the sounds of it. And Box have many explosive attackers, not only Sasha, but we only have BMT General at 10 for Pollard, says Ben. And also we have got their Saturday goodbye, or sad goodbye, Sia Kolisi. We need him in the Stormers, says Mohadeen. And please go and look at Brandon Now podcast where he explains South Africa is going nowhere. Says the Bulls. Oh, yeah, just getting out of the hands. Yandre Rudolph doing a brilliant bit of work to be able to tackle Bautista Bernasconi as he went to score the try. And it looks like the coach is pretty frustrated with that one too. Auntie says hi, says cool story. And also we have got their Sun Goliath, it's quarterfinals. Says Mohadeen. So who's in the Sun Goliath team that you're keeping an eye on? Looks like an eye is getting repaired here, or at least an eyebrow. Going to be putting a little bit of strapping around the head of a Benetton player before we get this goal line drop out. Get us back underway. We're currently 17 minutes through. We'll mention 14 now. I haven't updated the scoreboard in a little while. I didn't realise it hadn't done it itself, but currently the way that it sits, if the Bulls win like this, they will be sitting in third. Now, the reason they go ahead of Leinster is not just that points differential, but also the wins. We have there, we'll be covering the warm-up pre-matches, pre-England South Africa matches. As in like the Barbarians match in South Africa A and whatnot, they are being covered on the channel, or at least I'm hoping to cover them. I'm not sure whether South Africa A versus Zimbabwe will be shown here, but if it's not, I'll have to find a way around it. Probably have to watch it on DSTV, I would say. Or I'd like to think that somewhere would have it, that I won't have to spend like $90 on one match. But just in off the feet there from Yandre Rudolph. Gives away the penalty, so Benetton again will look towards the corner. And also David and Goliath and Sun G team together. And Sun Goliath versus the Black Rams. Now Reno Smith again putting it into touch. And Leinster selected their Ireland Test team. No way Ospreys will beat them, says Ben, which is one of the reasons why I decided that game I probably don't need to cover. Because we're going to see Leinster more than likely win it by a good old margin. And yeah, for them it's just whether or not they finish, I guess, 4th or 2nd in terms of the standings, but I think 2nd's on the cards for the Leinstermen. A rolling maul here, once again told to keep that rolling maul up for the Bulls' defence. It's not going forward for Bruna Sconni. He's going to have to get rid of this ball. Pops it up to Garbisi. Now Reno Smithy runs straight through Matt Gallagher. Nice step. Passes on the outside to Lewis Liner, who waits for the bounce of the ball, controls it with his foot, and does score the try for Benetton. Very safe and calm way of controlling that ball. He had all the time in the world. The Bulls were defending quite narrow, so I mean that there was space out wide for them to be able to work with. Billy LaRue, he was on a hiding to nothing. There were 2 men both there that he had to try and cover, and one of them was about 15 metres out on the wing. Kane Moody, I think he was slightly caught too far infield too. And in the end, Lewis Liner able to get that try. Gets Benetton slightly back into this game. Alejandro Garabisi, first kick of the day. Anyone seen Lewis Liner wall? Sears Ruth. He's wearing a few battle wounds at the moment. He's got the strapping around his head. There's some banged up bodies by this stage of the season. That is for sure. Alessandro Garabisi misses away to the right-hand side. He'll be looking at a Leinster versus Connacht quarter-final. Says Jimbo. Yeah, I'll be honest. I've worked out the home teams. When trying to work out who's playing who out of the away sides, it's just painful at the moment because of how the sides are sitting. But yeah, theoretically, whoever's finishing 7th. So I'd like to think the Lions would... it depends. It could be Leinster Lions, actually. Looking at that. Let's just say, for instance, Munster win their game by 10. I'm not saying they're going to, but I think that's about what is expected in terms of the odds and whatnot. So that would mean if the Lions were to lose by 10 without a bonus point, they would sit below Connacht. So yeah, it's looking like either Connacht or the Lions, I would say. Or if Munster get 2 bonus points and lose, they can technically get up to 7th and play Leinster in an Irish derby, which would be quite good. Although not so good for the Irish sides, as one of them would knock each other out. And that's kind of the situation we got in the qualifying for the playoffs as well. Another penalty goes the way of Benetton. And the breakdowns at the moment, they're just starting to get a little bit of rhythm here. I make it easy, most likely in the semis, Glasgow versus the Bulls, Leinster versus Stormers. Yeah, that's a nice, easy one, isn't it? That'd be interesting too, because Glasgow versus Bulls is a rematch of a Champions Cup round of 16, where we did see Glasgow get the victory. And then Leinster versus Stormers. I can't remember what happened. Was that a Stormers home game up against Leinster and they won it decently? Benetton already doing all right. Are not being down by 25. Yeah, they're going good at the moment, Benetton. They're focused on the breakdowns at the moment, and they've managed to get themselves probably 2 or 3 crucial steals. I think Munster will win against the Lions, says Kevin. Yeah, so it just depends on how much they win by and if there's bonus points at play for the Lions. Reno Smith now running it at Andre Pollard, who looks to hold him up. Now back across to the right-hand side. Big run from Soatala Fasa'o. And their number 8 jersey now. Backline here. Reno Smith. Nice quick hands. Just a drop ball from a Dogwu. Went behind him. And it will now be the Bulls who have the line out. Last September, Stormers bashed Leinster. Says Jimbo. That one was in Cape Town, right, Jimbo? And I better put a pasta on, friends. Remember, Arch Hall Jr. loves you. Who's that? Arch Hall Jr. Oh, okay. It's the last of your name, I do see. Now, line out for Robala, nicely taken by Ruan Nokia. Oh, that was a well-handled ball from Yandre Rudolph, almost dropped it just as he was bringing it down. Ball is carried back, they've said. So this one cannot find touch from Ambrose Papier on the full. 22 minutes into this contest, he will go down the middle of the field. And nice take from Lewis Liner. He's had his spine rearranged by Eldrick Lowe. Now going away to the left-hand side here, Reino Smith. He's done solidly throughout this game. In fact, no, sorry, that time it was actually Thomas Medina. He's got the same headgear on as Reino for this game. As Thomas Bash leads the C team, nothing in it. Says Ben, yes, and probably not the best game to base it off then in that regard. Now, backline movement, although still having one win over an opposition on paper looks good heading into the next time that you play up against them. Billy LaRue, ball in hand, inside of his 22, looking to run it forward. The chip in behind from the veteran, claims it forward past Ruan Nokia, up to the halfway line, and they'll go back for it. And it's now going to be the scrum for Benetton. If they, South African teams don't play in Europe, they should schedule the Currie Cup at the same time. I guess they technically could, couldn't they? But then will the URC sides release URC players to play in the Currie Cup? Because I like the idea of seeing some of these URC boys in the Currie Cup, but I think those days are a thing of the past. Sadly, I remember a few years ago you used to get to see the box running out and having a crack in the Currie Cup competition, and it was what kept people on the edge of their seats in terms of that competition as a whole. But you know, it'll be an interesting one to see what actually comes of it. But at the moment, it's just rumours of the potential of them leaving. By the sounds of it, there are some who say that it's not going to happen. There are some that are saying that it will. But yeah, we'll wait and see. Our substation burned and power now restored after 3 days without power, says Wild Lobsters. I'm glad you've got it back. Would there have been, you can braai without power, right? Did you have braais throughout those days? Sloppy balls here, way too many basic mistakes. Morning, Hamish. You got Bulls by 10, says Birdie V for his prediction. Looks like some strapping going onto the arm of Thomas Medina. Yeah, the Bulls, before this game, were anticipated to win by over 30. In terms of the odds, they came in as the biggest favourite of the round. So haven't quite found that full stride as of yet, although to be fair, they have scored twice throughout this time, so they'll be happy enough with that, I would think. Currently, they are sitting in third in the overall live standings, ahead of Leinster. But Leinster, of course, have their game up against the Ospreys just around the corner too. You must braai without power. Coals are acceptable. Hardwood is preferable. So here's Yanko. And 400th appearance for Billy LaRue. Says Birdie V. And we had our blow up 2 weeks ago in that storm. 48 hours without electricity. Says Ruth. 24 minutes, a 9-point lead here for the Bulls currently, although Benetton have got themselves another scrum feed. This one will be 40 metres out. Reino Smith has been having a very strong performance from that number 10 jersey throughout the early stages. Same with Alessandro Garbisi. Those two linking up nicely. Normally we see Smith from 15, but due to the absence of Umanga, means that a bit of a change had to be made. And the Bulls need only a win. Points differential won't make a difference where they end, says Ben. True. Yeah, they just, well, in a way, they just need a couple points, don't they? Because if they go above Cardiff, in fact, they only really need 1 point. They can lose this game by less than 7, and they'd be still up to that next standing on the table because of their wins that they've received throughout the season. Of course, you don't really want to go into a playoff game with a loss, but like I said, favourites heading into this one and should be favourites at the end of it. Although Benetton, again, on the attack, 22 metres out from the line, the run from Mattia Medina. A loose ball picked up. Carisi. Now Favretto. Can't get through the tackle of Johan Robela. Has some good results in the Super Rugby today. Yes. Oh, what's that? Okay, I no longer like Benetton. They went for a drop goal there. There's no reason to do that. In this scenario, you're down by 9. You're not playing in some sort of playoff game. You're 13th in the standings. Try and score in this scenario. You're not going to beat the Bulls with drop goals. Not in this match. I feel like that will now probably motivate the Bulls to go out there and put 50 on them. Good results. Oh, yeah, but the Super Rugby side of things, the force beating the Reds means that there are a lot more sides in the runnings for being able to make it into the top 8. top 6. We see now the Brumbies, though, we have a little bit of pressure on them to make sure that they get 1 or 2 big wins and drop GOAT for the Bulls. So here's Roof. Looks like a bit of a shoulder injury here for Bernasconi, but he looks all right to continue. I no longer like Benetton based on that one weird decision as Wild. But I don't disagree. Never liked them in the first place, says Yanko. Well, just, when some sides, like Benetton have shown already, they've got a strong attack. And they went, what will fix that attack? A drop goal. And don't get me wrong, there is a time and a place for one. But not when you're down by 9 at Loftus. Because at best, you're 6 points down, and then you're still back in your own half. Bulls have a chance to score again, and then you put yourself down by 11 in that scenario. Now, going across to the left-hand side, and they didn't even get the drop goal. That's the worst thing about it, isn't it? The fact that they missed. Like, if you get it over, maybe people won't judge it too badly, but it's like going for a 3 in a game where you should be going for tries, and then missing the kick. Munster can finish on 56 points, so the Bulls, I would need more than 1 point to make sure, says the real pie man. Yeah, I guess so. There is the technicality. So 2 bonus points would do it. Because the wins for Bulls is substantial enough to boost them up. Rather than points differential, although the Bulls do win points differential up against a majority of sides as well. 2 more tries for the Bulls, and within 7, they'll be happy as. You miss all the shots you don't take, says Rugby Ready. Yeah, at this stage, Benetton have missed every shot that they have taken. They are sitting 0 from 2 in the kicking department. Now going away to the right-hand side, and Bros Papier moving it on. That's going to be a drop ball from Harold Stennekamp for the kick across field, but they will go back for the scrum again. How's the crowd at Loftus? It looks all right. There's at least one person there. That is Haino. I know of that much, but it looks like a decent enough crowd. I'd say that the quarterfinal, they'll get a few more in. Definitely if they end up playing up against the Lions or someone like that, a bit of a South African derby at Loftus would certainly light the fire under the crowd. You also miss every try that you forgo in favour of the Poles. Says Yanko, that is true. So I guess the question I have for the Bulls supporters as well here, in the ideal world, who would you like to play? And I know that that's a tricky one to decide on, but theoretically, they can't play Ulster. There's no way that Ulster can be the opposition. They can play pretty much anyone from Munster, Lions, Connacht or Cardiff. So out of those 4 sides, technically there's probably one of those games that can't happen, but out of those teams, who would you like to see the Bulls play? Out of those 4, who do you feel they've got the best chance up against? The Lions for the derby. Cardiff, says Rugby Ready. That one's going to be booted towards the touchline. That'll be about 7 metres out from the line after the penalty was awarded to the Bulls. They'd smash Cardiff, says Rugby Ready. Everyone seems to think they'd smash Cardiff. Like every team seemed to say, yep, we'll smash Cardiff. Stormers said they'd smash Cardiff. But Cardiff, again, are one of the most... I think I would rather play Connacht than Cardiff just because you know what you're going to get with Cardiff. With Connacht. You're going to get a really solid showing. Some nice work in the forwards, a handy enough backline. But Cardiff, if they find their rhythm, they are very hard to work out. What's happening to the Queensland Reds this season? They are not winning many games, says Jack. Yeah, they've been struggling a little bit, although they are still within the top 8. And they're currently still in the top 6 only. Narrowly, that is over the line, though. Who's that? That is Johan Rubala, who has gone down with the try, and the Bulls get their 3rd. Lucky they tried to go for a drop goal, Benetton. That would have stopped that one. And Welsh surprise Stormers, says Ruth. Our Bulls should just play France and call it a day. Says Martin Meyer, well, they don't want to play France anymore. The Champions Cup might not be something that we see for the Bulls in the near future. Yeah, nice finish from Johan Krubala going on the short side. They're managing to finish that one off. Lions with a full stadium. Says, there, that would be nice, wouldn't it? And a good old sold-out crowd. Question. Although it's now that the Bulls have scored again, it probably takes it out of the equation. So I won't ask that question. I was going to say whether or not Lions playing in Lions territory, whether that would be the better game for the Bulls. So the last time Lions played them at this stadium, they were beaten, the Bulls. So Andre Pollard's missed away to the right-hand side. Question is, which of the top 8 teams can win away from home and more important overseas? Leinster, Glasgow and the Bulls. Are the others not so much? Yeah, see, once again, the likes of Cardiff and Connacht, if they show up, I think they've got the ability. Munster have proven it. They managed to win a final away from home, didn't they, in the URC a couple of years ago? Or maybe 3 years ago it might have been now. I can't believe how long it's been since the URC started, probably in 95. I remember when I last saw Ellis Park full. So here's Yanko. Now, Reno Smith. One's going to be kicked off high again for Benetton. And those are the only drop kicks he should be going for in this game, the ones that he does off the kickoff. Now, Ambrose Papier goes back across to Kobus Visa. 30 minutes into the match-up, though, and it is 19-5. There we go. Is New Zealand supportive of the South African teams of the URC since they were old frenemies? Depends on who you talk to. I think it's the same on both sides of the equation. There are certain rugby fans who have the mutual respect for both nations and their sides. And then there are the other ones who ruin it for everyone else. And I think that, it seems like, well, from who I talk to anyway, of the Kiwis, there are some who miss South Africa and Super Rugby, but they also like what they're doing in the URC. They enjoy and watching them take on the North, something that a lot of teams in Super Rugby wish that they could do more often, is go into those kind of mixed competition tournaments, which we are going to get to see for the Club World Cup. But, yeah, it just depends on who you talk to. It's like everything. There'll be the ones who just enjoy rugby for rugby, and then there'll be the ones who try and find a way to complain about everything. That one's going to be kicked off by Andre Pollard. Nice take there from Reno Smith. So they look to run it back towards the 22, tackled by Krobala. They did put him in the man of the match candidates before the match even got underway, so he's got to have a good game. Now going off to the right-hand side. Oh, that's a big chopping tackle there. And a picked up ball by Kobus Vesa, straightened off the feet from Johan Krobala, but I believe they said that the Benetton player pulled out, which is why Krobala went through. Now nice kick of mine from Andre Pollard will force Benetton back into their 22, the retreating from it will be Zanandrea. And now he's going to run it for. That's a very nice run from the left winger. Andre Rudolph wanted the steal. And the breakdown wasn't quite able to get it. The one Kanoni in the starting lineup, this time being Lorenzo. They have got the other off of the bench. Go on, Bernasconi. Now, Grabber in behind. Not quite working out for Reno Smith. And now it's given the ball straight into the hands of the Bulls. Big driving tackle from Smith, though, after making his error. Does drive Devon Williams into touch. I think Connacht is the real, or is it team none of the top four want to play? Yeah. They made easy work of their most recent game up against Edinburgh. And the week prior up against Munster, they just did what they needed to. They knew that they were outside of the top 8. And they went, okay, 2 wins from 2 is what we need. And that's exactly what they did. The one downside of the fitness level in rugby is that you don't see big fat guys anymore. Well, I feel like you see a few solid enough individuals. I mean, of course, you've got the strength and conditioning side of things, but see, the big example I would say of a very big man who got into shape is a terrible example at the moment because of the controversy around him, seeing as he's banned for 18 months. But, you do see these guys who are 130 kgs who move like they're wingers nowadays. You see someone like a Ben Funa. When he gets going, you don't stop that man. He just keeps on pumping the legs. He'd probably still be one of the bigger international props around. But, yeah, the props these days are just so mobile. It used to be if you were a prop for a rugby side back in the amateur days, you'd do your scrummaging, you'd do your training, you go for a pie and a pint. Now you're not allowed to do that. You got to have protein and you got to have your well, to be fair, they say salad doesn't win scrums. There's a certain South African who says that. It wasn't Clubber Kanye, it was Oxenshire. But now that chip in behind, nicely taken by Gallagher. Pollard missing the tackle. And can Lions beat Munster? And Martin, no, says cool story. So in Super Rugby, are all top 4 teams from New Zealand still? Yes. So at the moment, it goes Hurricanes, Chiefs, Blues, Crusaders. And there is still a lot of reshuffling that can happen between those sides heading into the later stages. Heard that Eddie is joining New Zealand camp as fitness specialist. How do you feel about that? Well, as in Eddie Jones. I think he's already got a job, even though he's suspended from it. But, no, I don't think they'll be bringing him in unless we're talking about a different Eddie. than Eddie Jones. And we have got there, are there any vegan rugby players? Probably. It's probably a little bit harder for them to hit their nutritional goals and whatnot, but not impossible. Like, at the end of the day, it's 2026. It's a bit easier to find alternatives nowadays to be able to consume. Now, Yandre Rudolph across to Harold Foster. Oh, that was very well done. They eventually managed to drag him down. That's illegal. And it is going to be a try for Ruanokia and a yellow card here. That was a big mistake made by the halfback Alessandro Garbisi. And he will get himself off the field. Rudolph has the ball, or twice the ball steals that all other features of South Africa have. But no bot call up strange. I think it's his discipline. That man, don't get me wrong, he will play at 150% no matter what game it is. Whether it's a game that matters or a game that doesn't. Yandre Rudolph, similar to what we saw in the Curry Cup, will go like a house on fire and just keep on going and going and going. But the problem is, he gets a lot of turnovers, but he also gives away a lot of stupid penalties along the way. Little bit similar to what we see as to why Evan Ruiz, the top try scorer of the competition, hardly gets a mention in for the box. It's what he does when he's not taking the ball off the opposition in the breakdown that hurts his chances. And, you know, one day they may look at him as a potential choice, but that is a good kick from Andre Pollard, gone over this time, 26 points to 5. You know, Rudolph's a guaranteed 1 or 2 penalties against him per game. Sometimes even more. Like, we've already seen him get penalised in this match. And that was for doing something that he really shouldn't have, which was just getting all up in the breakdown when Benetton had the ruck set. Honeycomb having a quiet game. Yeah, I don't think I've mentioned him once, have I? Throughout this one. We've mentioned, well, Eldrick Lowe's made his way off the field just before with a bit of an injury. We've seen a bit of Yandre Rudolph, but yeah, in terms of Honeycomb, I wouldn't have even known he was out there at the moment. Right, time's been turned off at the moment with 4 minutes remaining in this first half. That's pretty much the game now. But the good news is Benetton almost got a drop goal. He put in some good tackles. TMO involvement here. Right, they're checking the potential knock-on of Yandre Rudolph here. And the breakdown, he was thinking about playing the ball. Oh, this will be interesting because if he has knocked it on, they would have to reverse this yellow card and take away the try. He put in some good tackles. Okay, they're checking the wrong one here. Oh, no, to be fair, they're checking that one with the potential knock-on from Imbros Papier. But I think there was the breakdown beforehand that might have been the one that they were also potentially looking at. But yeah, it was because of the Benetton player that ball did not come out cleanly. Right, what's the verdict here? It's going to be a yellow card either way for Alessandro Garbisi. Okay, it's a no try for Ruanokia. They were playing under advantage though, so they will still have another chance to go. It's not Yandre Rudolph. It's how the 9 slapped it down. Penalty try, they've proven it. Would have been a try, says Yanko. Yeah, so it's going to be no try, 5 metres out from the line. I'd like to see that breakdown beforehand though, because it looked like Yandre was going to play it and then left it alone. Unless I was just seeing things. I'll check it at half-time probably, but yeah, they're going back for the penalty initially, and Ruan is right. It should be a deliberate knock-on. So here's Yanko. Lions can beat anyone at home, but lost to anyone away. Has any rugby player in history left the field for foul play out of his own honour, even though he didn't get a card? I don't think you see it like in cricket, how a guy walks when he knows he's edged it. I don't think you see that. Like, yeah, you don't see a player clothesline someone and then go, I think I'm going to take a bit of a break here because I know that I've hit him high. They might apologise. They might go, sorry. Not true, Hamish. Rudolph only 7 penalties whole season. Ruiz 17. Why is he then in the bot group? Says Ben. Has he really only given away 7 penalties? I swear he's given away 7 penalties in the past about 4 weeks. So maybe it's the knock-on factor for Yandre Rudolph then. Is that, yeah, to be fair, he's had a few of those. I thought his penalty count was higher than his knock-ons. How many handling errors has he had this year? Now, running off the back, Imbros Papier goes through and scores the try. A try for Papier from the scrum, says Yanko. And there as well. But 3 minutes remain in this first half. It didn't take them too much longer for the Bulls to be able to get that try that they were after. Here's official URC stats. So it must be his handling. Because, or else you'd assume, if he's as good as people think he is, which to be fair, in the Currie Cup, he was one of the standouts I felt anyway, as a whole. But, what's this for? What's happening now? We got referee getting called over, or calling the the captains over. Okay, it's another no try. They can't get this one to save themselves at the moment, the Bulls. That's now 2 times in a row that it's been disallowed. There was a knock-on at the back from Cameron Hanekom, just as he went to pick this ball up. Let's knock it forward. Scoreline is now what I was expecting. Although it's back to 19-5. They're taking this one back as well. Yeah, knock on from Hanekom. He went to play it off the back of the scrum. It's definitely his face. So you think Rusty's looking through at his options and he goes, his face is funny. I'm just going to cross him off the list straight away. I'll be honest, he's a lot younger than I thought he was, Jandre Rudolph. 3rd time's the charm, eh? Yeah, although they already had a penalty in their favour, so it is going to be another scrum for the Bulls here, so surely this time. Question is, will they go off the back of the scrum this time, or will they go backline movement? This is where someone like a Pollard could really come into play, a nice little sneaky burst through a gap. Although he's been unselfish in this game, Pollard, as he normally is. He probably would prefer to pass it on his outside to a teammate to score, if the chance is there, but I think that Benetton may get caught just trying to run it out wide in terms of their defence. It could leave a gap in the middle, but Hanekom also off the back of the scrum is another option. And if you were the TMO, would you tell rugby fans, or hide your face? Well, they'd know, because they show the names at the start. So you'd see the name on the screen at the start of the game. Where will the Stormers sit? Says Mohadin. Well, if the Bulls were to lose this game, which I think they're not going to, so the Stormers more than likely will be in 4th. Penalty awarded. Quick tap was about to happen for Hanekom. In fact, he's going to do it anyway. Running at the line. He goes close. He's gone over, but he's held up, although they are going to get it back recycled. Visa's over the line now. And the Bulls will wait for a minute or so just to make sure, but they have now scored the try. Cobra's got it down, says Yanko. But no one remembers, I mean in public. Says Rugby Ready. What do you mean? So would I, if I was going out and about, would I go around telling random people that I was a TMO for a game that they probably didn't watch? Probably not. I don't think they'd care. That kick has gone over, and that'll now make the score 26 points to 5 in favour of the Bulls. Why does TMO relook at whole game and tell us the result tomorrow? This is crazy. They never seem to bother when it's against Safari teams. Says Joe Man. Well, to be fair, the URC have had quite a bit of criticism for the amount that they check things, but any try now is checked. And, the ones that have been ruled out make sense. At the end of the day, both of them were knock-ons. Although you could argue that first one, you could call it the deliberate knockdown out of the hands of Papia, but then from there, he knocked it on the boot. So, I don't mind a TMO getting involved. As frustrating as it is, I don't mind them getting involved when they're making the right calls. It's when the TMO doesn't get involved for a decision that should be made that does annoy people, I think, a little bit more. Of course, there's the whole running joke of, oh, no, the TMO involved again. But as long as they're getting it right, I don't mind it. It could be worse. Now, Reno Smith running up the field, and he will score the try for Benetton. That was a mistake from Pollard. He tried to go for a chip in behind, Billy LaRue on his flank. Both men ran forward, awkward bounce of the ball, and Benetton come away with a try for Reno Smith just before that halftime break. So Stormers are out? No, they're in the top 4. So no quarterfinals at home. Well, home 4 sides. So Stormers are at home for the quarterfinals. There is no way for them not to be. at home in that department, even with the loss to Cardiff. It's a good finish, though, from Moreno Smith. Scored right at the end of the first half. I think if he's strategic, he'll use up the 16 seconds that are remaining. Okay, the Bulls go, says Dion there. The Bulls on fire, says Julian. And all that for the Bulls to score again, says Birdie V. You got a siren sounding at the moment. But that is going to be the end of the first half. And the score now at halftime, 26 points to 12 in favour of Benetton. I have a question. The Bulls will get a bonus point win. And Leinster lose against Ospreys. Where will they end, says Hardis. So if Leinster were to lose to the Ospreys, for one, that would be one of the biggest upsets we have seen in this whole competition so far. But theoretically, the Bulls would finish above them. The Bulls would finish third. Leinster would finish fourth, if that was the case. So Leinster, for them to finish fourth, they can't receive any bonus points. They can't receive 2 bonus points, because 1 bonus point would actually put them on the same points as the Bulls, and because of the Bulls having more wins, it would mean that the Bulls get that higher seed, and also they have a better points differential alongside it anyway. Leinster isn't losing to the Ospreys, says Yanko. It was not Pollard that knocked there. It was one of the locks, says Ben. It was actually Harold Foster from the initial knock-on that we saw, but it was the tactics of Pollard and Villy LaRue that seemed to backfire a little bit. Now, of course, if you get the bounce of the ball, you go happy days. We've managed to score off that set piece, but yeah, unfortunately for them, it didn't pay off. Oh, they don't have handling errors on the URC website for Yandre. Got a tackle success of 86%. Got 17 turnovers, 1. They've got every other stat pretty much. They've even got kicking stats for a man who doesn't kick. Like, they've got the kick from hand stat for him, but they don't have the handling error, which is quite sad. So what happens for the Stormers now? Says Mohadeen, well, they have to wait till the end of this game to find out where they're sitting. But either way, they've got a home quarter final. It's whether or not they qualify as third or whether they qualify as fourth, realistically. But either way, it doesn't change anything. They're still home quarter final and more than likely away semi-final. And we have got no TMO check, says Joe Man. Yeah, I don't think TMO was needed for that one. But they would have checked it while he was lining up the kick in front of the posts. They would have just done a quiet check for that one, though, to make sure that there wasn't any knock-on from Benetton and when that ball was kind of bouncing around. But like, there's a big difference between a breakaway in play with a one-phase try compared to when you're going phase after phase in the breakdown. We have got there, come on, Hamish. Rudolph has been great this season. More steals than Paul also, says Ben. That's why I want to know his handling stat, because I know that he's dropped the ball quite a bit, and that's one of the reasons I would assume that Russie's left him out, because or else, like, you're literally saying, and a lot of people would be saying, why isn't he in there? So there's obviously something that Russie's looking at. If he's the genius that everyone says that he is, then he's obviously seen something in Rudolph that makes him think this guy isn't a bok. And, I mean, we can try and argue with Russie, but it doesn't go well. Just ask Evan Ruiss's dad, because that went well. We have got there, so now, so what happens with the Stormers? My soccer team, Man City, is playing. Says Mohadeen. Glasgow not factor. Well, they're already number one no matter what. They can't move anywhere, the Glasgow Warriors. They've got the home final if they want it. And if... do you mere mortal question Russie's genius, says Yanko there. But yeah, there'll be a reason. And Russie may not say it publicly, but he'll have something that makes him not pick Rudolph. He only put hands on his boyfriend, says Martin. But it's a good try from Villy LaRue in the early stages. Pollard started this game with a very strong couple assists. One for LaRue, one for Sergio Pedersen. Kane and Moody. Also he had a great start to this game, then kind of disappeared after the first 5 minutes, didn't he? He had that run down the wing on the left, he had that carve up the middle, and then from there, we've hardly seen him. Which is weird. This game's had little mini momentum situations throughout it. Seen a lot of Andre Pollard, a lot of Villy LaRue. What's your thoughts on Kerwin Bosch joining the Bulls? Interesting signing. I feel like he'll go all right. in that department, because Pollard's sticking around, isn't he, for the Bulls? I don't think he's going overseas next season that I know of. There are a few players exiting South Africa going overseas, but yeah, Pollard's not one of them. Cape Town, nice weather, often the rain. Often the rain. Says Julian Moses. What do you think about Graham Henry as All Blacks selected? Just to throw it out there, I'm curious to know what the plan will be with him, because like Rennie, right from his first interview, said I'm picking players based off form. But the question is going to be, is Graham Henry also of that same mindset? Or has Graham Henry got a few guys that maybe in terms of experience make their way into the squad? Perfect example is probably Beauden Barrett. He hasn't been in his best form this year for Super Rugby Pacific. And if you're basing it off just form alone, probably misses out. But does Graham Henry say we need Beauden Barrett in our squad? And that's where the, I guess, surprising factor of the selection could come into play. They're just showing that Lewis Linar try. He was one of two men for Benetton. We're able to score. And we have there Reno Smith. I'll be great playing for the Bulls under Ackers. We have too many backs already, says Ben. So yeah, it's great that he gets the opportunity to shine at a team like Benetton. He normally plays in that 15 jersey, but has proven here that 10 is also somewhere that comes second nature for the man. So we'll see her join the Stormers for the quarters. No, he's not allowed to join the Stormers until, he's not allowed to join them until next year. I was trying to work it out, seeing as the Sharks for Sia was his last game just recently, but then I realised that's because they're 11th. So, they're a bit high now. They're 10th, I should say, up to the 46 points in the standings. I heard Ulster is letting a bunch of international players go. I haven't really heard where any of them are going next. Yes, the Ulster have lost a lot of players. Who was the other team? I think Cardiff have lost a lot of players too. Connacht have had a mass exodus of their guys going overseas, I believe. Hang on. Because I was looking through at the list and I noticed that Sam Gilbert's sticking around for Connacht, which is great news for them, seeing as he's pretty handy off a kick and tee. We'll go here. Connacht. And we'll go like that. There we go. They had a list somewhere that they put out of the guys who are leaving. And it was long. Yeah, there it is. Thank you to Buckley, Carty, Ungia, McCormack, Hawkshaw, Dooley, Dowling, Joyce, Lassisi, Mullins, and Devine. All leaving. So that's a good list. But, okay, a couple of them are actually going to other Irish teams by the looks of it for Connacht, so Ulster might be the same. Reno Smith, I read that one, didn't I? New contracts and season starts 1st of July. Says Ben. It's a good finish from Johan Robillard, one of the try scorers for the Bulls in that first half. Reno Smith goes South Africa. Says Brenton. I do always enjoy that when someone from South Africa does well for another team, the South Africans get behind them, which is quite nice to see. There's almost like that countryman camaraderie that goes on. When they play badly, you never hear about them, the guys overseas. But as soon as they go well, they get reminded that they're from South Africa by the general viewership. Just showing Honeycomb almost scoring, and then in the end, the finish from Vesa. Next to the breakdown, Bulls is also losing good players. A lot of players are going overseas just before the World Cup. Now, the benefit for the South Africans, for instance, is because of the way that they've got it set up, it means that they can play for the box still. You got sides like the All Blacks, like Ireland and whatnot, who have to play within that country or else they aren't in that running, that World Cup situation. From the end, or from the way it sounded to me, Ulster is ending the contracts or not renewing them. So it's basically them kicking out the players, not the players choosing to leave the team. There's Yanko. A little bit like Moana Pacifica, I guess, in a way then. No team to go back to per se. And just seeing that chip and bind again, yeah, it was Foster who knocked that ball on, but I just don't know if it was the right tactic. And it worked out nicely for Reno Smith. He got a gifted try right at the end of the first half, guys. Let's give it up for our legend Hamish. It's early Sunday morning in New Zealand, and Hamish is here in full force. Thank you, Brother Hamish. Says Birdie V. He's currently sitting around 3 a.m. And I'm awake currently. I'll certainly be feeling it later on. I think we're supposed to be playing 18 holes of golf and then going out for dinner. So that will be brutal, but should be good fun. Did Moana win? They had a bye. They didn't get to play in that last round. Who else had a bye? There were a couple other sides in there too. The Brumbies had a bye. Moana Pacifica had a bye, and then also the Crusaders had the bye. Good evening from Serene Durban, says Demetaro. Welcome in. And when is Japan team returning for the Springboks? I think they're going to be there late June, near that first matchup, because of course they've got their Barbars game, the Box. I think that's the only one before their first July international. I have to say, that's something that South Africa do very well, is rather than going into a July international with no match time under their belt, they chuck in a game early, and it kind of just gets the nerves out of the players. What are those? Those are chips. And like a cone, I think it was. A lot of supporters in the stands, though, by the looks of it, in certain positions. I'm still looking around for Haino. I couldn't see him there, though. Oh, his buys next week, says Mohadeen, just the one team, the Blues in Super Rugby. But everyone in the URC, seeing as the Champions Cup final will be taking place, it will be Bordeaux versus Leinster. And then also Challenge Cup is Ulster versus Montpellier. Are we over there as a younger man? Be only getting home from the club now, says the real pie man. Yeah, although we don't have any clubs here. So, you would have been home from the pub about 5 hours ago when it closed. More than likely. But yeah. We probably put our body through, well, it depends. Would all-nighters week in, week out on the weekends be worse than the occasional going to like a pub and drinking? It'd be interesting to know the science in terms of what one's worse for you. Because I've already got like the early stages of memory loss from like just the last year or so. My memory's gone to like down the gurgle. I can't even remember what I do a couple of days ago now. I can't even remember what games happened last week in the rugby world. It's only because of notes and whatnot that I remind myself. But I don't know too many 26-year-olds who like go drinking each and every week who forget that much. So, I don't know. Science. Interesting thing. Hi, Hamish, long time. I hope you're well. Says Daryl, doing all right, Daryl? Hopefully you're doing well too. Andre Pollard will kick this one back off. And now nicely taken by Fa'aso'o, I should say, inside of the 22 for Benetton. They did score the last try of the first half, but they're down by 14 here. So for any chance in this game for the Benetton boys, they would have to be the first team to score. Reno Smith playing halfback, of course, because of that yellow card of Garbisi Villilaroo. Now, offloading it again to Gerald Stennekamp. You've got Jan Hendrik Vessels to make his way off of the bench later on in this contest. Kane and Moody stepping inwards. Like I mentioned, he had a lot of carries early on in that first half and then slightly disappeared for the next 30. Andrea Rudolph inside ball to Sergio Peterson. Tries to kick him behind. Nice take from Reno Smith again. He goes for the grubber. It's a foot race with Rua Nokia. And somehow Nokia has come away with the ball. Yes, Fa'aso'o, good Italian name. Well, they don't have to be Italian to play in an Italian side in a franchise competition. But now, running this one forward as a dog woo. Now going for a bit of a counter-ruck, Favoretto. He actually plays for Samoa, I believe, too, Fa'aso'o. Now, nice inside ball. Lewis Liner cuts through the defence. And Benetton have scored twice with 14 men on the field. This is not the way that the Bulls wanted the second half to start. And it's certainly the way that Benetton would have liked it too. Brother Hamish from flying back to Zambia tomorrow, Sunday after 2 months. Our family's flying soon to New Zealand. Leinster probably going with a second string team tonight. Ospreys can cause the upset. Nah, they've gone stacked. Leinster have gone into this game knowing that they want a big win. FA Cup 0-0 at half-time. Yeah, I know they don't have to be, but it doesn't hurt the Bulls at all. Are all South Africans, says Yanko. True, but some, it depends on who you talk to. Some actually don't like that much because they feel like because of the guys going overseas that some of these South African sides don't get access to the same players as some of these overseas clubs because of like budgets and whatnot. Like they aren't ever going to compete with the likes of a Bordeaux. I know TMO check, once again, if it's like a one-phase thing, you don't really need a TMO check, but they checked the last pass and it was backwards. But just because they don't publicly announce the TMO's checking it doesn't mean they haven't checked it. But again, very different when it's just a couple meters out from a line and there's a few phases happening quickly and the ball goes a little bit wobbly. That one's kicked too far from Pollard, so they will go back to the halfway line now for Benetton. We'll get the scrum 50 meters out. It takes me 3 days to recover from night drinking now. Says the real pie man. We have got the hours of Hamish Craig from St Francis Bay, Eastern Cape, South Africa is back. Long day at work. What's going on, says Craig. So currently, Benetton are down by 7 here. The next guy that chips the ball should get contract taken out off of him. Yeah, that's now twice that they've tried a trip and twice that they've conceded a try because of it. So I'd assume that that's a tactic that they want to put in the back pocket and say, no, that's not happening anymore. But they are just showing the live standings. The Bulls will be up to 3rd place because of the bonus point for having 4 tries. So even if they were to lose this game, they get a nice little boost. But they could finish 4th, depending on the result here. Now Reno Smith, still playing as the halfback. That's a huge push from, it's a huge push from the Bulls, but they've said it was a sideways engagement. And come on, the Bulls, come on, says Nadine there. So Gerald Stennekamp not driving straight, penalty against them. I thought they dominated that scrum, the Bulls, but it must have been because of the angle. Looks like Matt Gallagher is going to kick this one towards the touchline yet again. Benetton certainly do not lack that Italian passion of if they are close in a game, they will start to believe that they can get the job done. They have got all the momentum at the moment, and they've got 14 on the field. They've actually gone better with 14 than they have with 15 in this contest. Losing their halfback may have been the best thing that's happened to Benetton in this contest. Okay, both commentators there are now just saying that they've been penalised for being too strong there, the Bulls. And that scrum was BS, pretty much. Now, line out throw here. It is not burning a scone here. It looks like they have had to make that change. He was having a few injury issues in the first half. Now looking to get this rolling ball going for Benetton. Where is that ball? There's about 4 or 5 players all in the way of it for now, but now it's made its way to the back of the Benetton rolling ball. Oh, nice short ball from Medina to Odogwu. Now Favoretto, tackled by Andre Rudolph. Looking for the steal. He's left his feet, but he's got the penalty. Oh, well, that's number 8 in terms of his penalties. And we have got there, Yandre got the turnover. Well, sorry, I was saying like penalties won rather than penalties against them, of course, before everyone gets angry. But line out throw here, just inside of Benetton's half. You're going to see the replay. It was the tackle made initially. He just managed to do it before getting his head caught on the ground there for Rudolph. Another Rudolph strike, says Ben. And now he just has to stop knocking the ball on, eh? Haha, banter. But no, that must be why Rusty doesn't like him. It's got to be. Because you'd assume with the turnover count, up to 18 now, you'd assume that would at least get you in the running. But then again, Ruiz, you look at his try-scoring count and he doesn't find himself in the running, but that's because of his dad. Has Yandre's dad called Rusty at some stage that we don't know about? It's the internet, mate. Everyone going to get angry no matter what, says Younger. That is true. A nice offload there to Ambrose Papier. Oh, that was obstruction from Rudolph, but it looks like it's going to be play on just for now. I bet you the TMO will go back and have a look at that one, straight onto the ball. Not able to get the steal there. Now, Kane and Moody kicks it in behind. Trying to put pressure on Lewis Liner, but kicks it too far. Liner grounds the ball. It will now be the goal line dropout for Benetton. Who is your prediction for the quarterfinals? It hurts my brain to think about it, to be honest. But I think Munster will take the last spot. I think that there's not a way that I see them doing bad enough up against the Lions not to get one bonus point. And because of their wins compared to Ulster, all they need is that 1 point to get further on. Now, goal line dropout here for Benetton. They have got the men back out there on the field, so they're 15 on 15 now. Kick downfield. Oh, that one's hit the boot. And it's gone into touch. That was a bit of a weird situation. Eldrick Lowe tried to trap the ball, smacked straight into his foot, and then ended up going into touch off a grubber type of kick. Of course, with no one in front able to grab that ball, it made it a little bit tricky. Can we have a South African versus South African team in the quarterfinals? Technically, yes. More than likely, it would be the Lions, though. Like, no, there's no way for the Bulls and Stormers to play each other because of the Bulls getting the bonus point here. So, well, no, I'm pretty happy with that statement, I think. Because, well, technically, well, no, I think the more likely is the Lions to play one of them. Rudolph's sister gives Rassi problems, says Ben. It's got to be some sort of family feud, doesn't it? Because, oh no, that's going to be another penalty going the way of the Benetton side. Oh, referee almost getting hit in the head with the ball. Jumping a little bit too early there was Eldrick Lowe. So again, the penalty goes the way of Benetton. Scoreboard is having a nap. It is, isn't it? I'll give it a slap and wake it up. There we go. 26 points to 19. Like I said, the pressure hasn't been turned into points. 10,521. Now, it would only be 10,520 if Haino wasn't at that game. But here's somewhere. I haven't spotted him yet. I'd assume he'll be wearing a Vodacom Bulls kit, though. He is a Bulls man through and through. Now, line out here. Taken by Favretto. Short side. That's a risky play. Very close to the sideline and a big knock on. Now, Cameron Andercom trying to bump off the defence of Benetton. And 26-19 says Ben. The advantage now in play for that knock on. Oh, that was key contact there. I think Favretto is just looking for a referee while he's holding his head saying, hey, I was cleaned out high there. Knock-on advantage is now over from Ambros Papier, kicking it down the field. Reno Smith going up, taking it nicely, slammed to the turf by Devon Williams. Honeycomb couldn't quite steal it. Garbisi back out there now. Going to make up for those 10 minutes. Although, to be fair, once again, 10 minutes that, to be fair, they actually went very well, Benetton. Rip ball from Rudolph, taken straight back by Benetton. Rano Smith, skip pass on the outside to Lewis Liner. Offloads on the inside. Great hands from Favretto, who was only holding his head only a moment ago saying that he was injured. And now he's back up there in a line break. Now got to be C-Nut. There's a knock on. Going to go back now for the scrum in favour of the Bulls. It is a sentence that the Bulls fullback absolutely love to hear as well. And Nigel Owens would say this is not soccer. So here's John O'Farrell. Looks like a few players are starting to feel the pace of this game. We have the hours Billy LaRue playing. He has scored a try earlier on. Outside of that, hasn't had a huge amount of moments throughout this game. Got caught on a hiding to nothing on one of the defensive situations. He was marking two men who were situated about 20 metres apart, but you can't blame him for conceding that one. But yeah, other than that, he's been all right. Rudolph Sage doesn't fit well. The box squad, unless challenging for a top 23 spot. I'd rather give exposure and caps to players that will be around to 2031. Could Yandre Rudolph be around to 2030? Oh, no, he's 32, isn't he? So he's... Yeah, well, yeah. He's getting up there a little bit. So, yeah, it probably makes sense that they're going for those younger guys like... we've seen recently, Emmanuel Tachuka was added into that Springbok alignment camp environment. You've got... I mean, there are plenty of them, the younger guys that could go loose forward in the future. That one's gone down. Oh, little bit of push and shove here between the two sides. How old was Fori when he played for the Box? Yes. Read it from Marcel Abel for the Box group. Says Ben. Yeah, I think Dion Fori's the exception. That man's had 5 career-ending injuries and somehow still playing. Although now he's again injured with another one that could be a career ender. But he keeps going, Dion Fori. And some would say that maybe he shouldn't. But, yeah. I mean, Reinach's probably a better example of someone, but I guess you want to go loose forward for loose forward. But Reinach's age doesn't seem to impact the way that he plays at this point in time. And Gratz de Villiers' daughter is expecting their second born today. You go, Unc. Says Martin. That one has gone down in another scrum penalty. Goes the way of the Bulls with 28 minutes remaining. Still just the 7 points separating these two sides. How did Benetton get back into this? A couple misplaced kicks from the Bulls. That led to Benetton scoring back-to-back tries right near the start of the second and the end of the first half. But yeah, Benetton, the biggest underdog of this round. They were expected to lose this game by 30 plus. It looks like now many changes are about to be made. We see there Gumedi, we see Maka van Staden, Klopper, Stedman Gans, and also, who was that? Someone ran out on the field a little bit earlier than they were supposed to, I think. Quite keen to get out there, make an impact. I think it might have been Jan Hendrik Wessels. We do also see another Kanoni making his way on. Don't worry, they still can lose by 30 plus, says Yanko. Yeah, anything's possible with 28 minutes remaining. You know, you get a few more tries on the board and all of a sudden the scoreline looks very different. Tackle on Rudolph around the halfway line and Bruce Papier goes back across to the right. Harold Foster linking up with Villy LaRue. Uh-oh, they've gone for another kick behind it again. Benetton have got the possession back. I would have thought the Bulls would have learnt from that by now. But they have decided if it doesn't work the first couple times and you concede, do it again and see if it works for the third. Now, ball on, or in the hands of Kanoni. Now told to use it, so Garbisi will go high. Down towards halfway. Villy LaRue jumps up, takes it nicely under the high ball pressure and the breakdown, but rolled back by the Bulls. Papier goes to Andre Pollard. Short pass to Gerald Stennekamp. And he's had the ball ripped off him. Looked like it was ripped off him on the ground, though, to be fair. That ball's gone backwards, although they've called it as a knock-on against Stennekamp. Sounded like the referee was playing advantage. He now decides to go back for it. Bulls kicking everything, says Jimbo. I think he got kept at 34. Difference for me, as the rest of the box squad are 4 years older now. Second Dion offered lots of utility. Value by covering hooker as well, says Zagres. That's true. Something that I think Van Staden's kind of gone into now is the loose forward hooker role. Seems to be something that Rassi does really enjoy having in his team environment. But Stedman Hans, he's up to 47 career appearances. So, with that being said, 48, 49, 50. If they make it through to the final and that man plays in all 3 games, he can bring up his half century in the final of the URC. And twice Bulls gone good attack, both kicked away. Ends in nothing, says Ben. Yeah, all of the changes. So, Stennekamp, Wilco Low, Hrobela, Elric Low. I think that's all the changes. And, of course, also the change in the back line. We're going to see, who did the Hans make his way on for? They're not going to tell us, but Vermaak, De Vet, and Sravino Jacobs is still the last 3. 26 minutes remaining. Benetton are 1 try away from a bonus point, but they couldn't give less of a care about that department. They can't really go up in terms of the standings. So more so in this case, it's just about trying to cause a big upset. Throw a little bit of a spanner in the works in terms of the top 8, which could potentially mean that the Bulls are away from home, up against maybe even the Lions, which would be a bit of a crazy one. That's how much things can change. Although, at the moment, actually, I take that back because the Bulls should get 2 bonus points from this game. I've not seen a South African team this weekend that will come anywhere near a URC final in current form. Hopefully, the Lions surprise us with a good match. Says Ben now, Reno Smith going across to the right-hand side. Space left out near the wing. That looked close to 4 from Gallagher, and it has been called as such. I'll go back now for the scrum to the Bulls. A few of those so far. Gallagher just not quite getting their hands going backwards there. I think he knows that that was a big mistake as well. We saw further forward passes not given in the Hurricanes versus Blues game. All I'll say about that one. But will be the scrum feed for the Bulls. 40 out from their own line here. Up by the 7 points. Still in control per se. One more try for Benetton would completely change that. But the Bulls are sitting nice. A good situation here. And the Bulls have their knockout spot confirmed, though, or through the offensive bonus point, no matter what happens, correct? They can't go out of the top 8. They're guaranteed in that department. But for the Bulls, they are ahead of Cardiff, sitting in 4th. Currently, let's say they lose this game with 2 bonus points, they'd move up to 57. The Lions, if they won with a bonus point, could still go above them and knock the Bulls down to 5th. That's the current circumstance that they find themselves in. So they actually really do need to win, the Bulls. Of course, the Lions would still have to beat Munster, and they come in as underdogs for that game. Nice quick hands from Billy LaRue. Now Foster on the outside finds Stedman Hans. Offload on the inside. Sergio Peterson going straight through the gap and should be able to score it, and does. Big dive there from Peterson as well, celebrating that one. It's the first try in a while for this Bulls side, their first of the second half. But they have struck, and Sergio gets the double. Sergio Peterson just reminded us he's still around. So here's Yanko, and yeah, that's where some of that experience comes into play. He thought, you know what? What I'm not going to do is copy what others are doing and kick this ball away. I'm going to run it. And Stedman Hans, this was a nice inside ball. He lured in 2 defenders, including Reno Smith. And then the big dive. I always get nervous when players do dives like that right at the end of the season, because the chance of getting injured goes up just that little bit more, it seems. Last thing you want to do is rule yourself out due to a try celebration for the next stage. This is not good enough. How are the Bulls going to win the URC like this? Generic enough complaint, Siskel's story. That kick has just snuck over the right-hand post too. And we'll make the score now 33 points to 19 in favour of the Bulls. A much better no kick when they run equals tries. Yeah, I agree. It's a pretty unnecessary risk. But I guess, that's the thing. Adrenaline is a thing that some rugby players know how to control and some don't. That's why you see sometimes, really interesting decisions made in breakdowns. You look at sometimes and you think, oh, that's a brain fade. For that one, Sergio Peterson, he was just hyped up. He wanted to score a double. He moves the closest out of any player out there to getting a hat-trick in this game. Hi, Roof. Hey, bring good luck because the Bulls just scored. So here's Craig there, and Roof has said, try. Ball's going to be cleaned up by the Bulls just outside of their 22. Oh, no. Clemente just tried to pass it to the left-hand side. There was absolutely no one on the left-hand side. That just snuff out a comeback. As long as Benetton don't score now off this. Bit of a brain fart from Clemente. Yeah, he saw movement on his outside, and I think it was the touch judge that he saw. But 22 minutes still remain. That's a wee while. To be fair, the next game taking place, ladies and gentlemen, will be the matchup between the Lions and Munster. That one going to be kicking off in just under 3 hours' time. We're going to be covering that one on the channel too. Now line out here for Benetton. That one's gone over the top in the line out department, picked up by Rudolph. Now Pollard slings the pass, bouncing into the hands of Sergio Peterson. Offloads to Stedman Hans, who has knocked it on. Played on the ground from Sergio Peterson. Was offside. Yeah, they've gone with the penalty in the breakdown against Yandre Rudolph instead. Could have been the initial penalty against Sergio Peterson, though, for offside and playing the ball off his feet. But they'll take any of them, Benetton. They've got the penalty either way. Low risk of Benetton lineouts go like that, says Yanko. And what's Moody and Honeycomb doing? Well, Moody started this game very well. He had that big line break that led to the first try. And he also, before that stage, had another really nice carry. But from there, he's gone missing. It seems like they're going for a lot more skip passes, though, the Bulls in their back line. So maybe that's why. Maybe it's just going over the top of him and out to Williams as well as Peterson. Now line out for Benetton again. This time a little bit closer to the Bulls line, about 15 out, maybe even less than that. Nicely claimed by Kanoni. He's begging for his fullback to start moving. They haven't quite done so yet, but a few of the backs will join in. The winger, I think, is in there as well as both centres, which is an interesting choice. They're trying to get this one going forward. They've been told to use it, and I think they're going to have to do it very soon now. Garbisi goes across. Reno Smith. Now step from Gallagher. He's a little bit isolated, but pops it up to Garbisi, who steps back in through Pollard, tackled by Honeycomb. An extra roll there, looking for the turnover. Foster initially lost his feet, got back up, won the steal. I'm not sure how legal that was, but it's worked out for the Bulls. They have managed to get the possession back. I guess, to be fair to him, he did go down off his feet, got back up, reversed through the breakdown, and then got the steal. for Harold Foster there, but the ball has been kicked and touched by Ambros Papier. The ball should have crossed 50 by now. An excellent turnover there. Says Yanko. And the game is on now. Go the Bulls. A couple more changes being made for Benetton now. Yes, he dis and then re-engaged. And very not legal, says Jimbo. I'm glad I'm not the only one who saw that. It just looked like something that seemed like an easy penalty against him. But I guess you play to the whistle, and if the ref's going to say that that's all right, you just do it and you hope for the best. Benetton now, they have still got that line out from just outside of their 22. They haven't got a huge amount of changes left to be made either, but one of them, Gasparini, he made his way on at half-time. Side of the field. Line out last time wasn't successful. Ow, that would have hurt. Kingy got his feet stood on, I believe. An obstruction there against would have been Thomas Medina in the midfield. Some people in the Cape still very salty after last night's bad loss, says Ben. And Whiskey says Julian. Andre Pollard. Again, we'll put this ball into touch. Well, this ball side in front of the 10,000 Loftus locals. The Loftus faithfuls, we should call them. They are going to be tuning in more than likely for that game in a couple weeks' time for the quarterfinal. That is, of course, they have to win this game for that to become a reality, just to be fully safe. Well, candle wax is fun. If you don't try it, you'll never get away with it. That is true. Now taken by Honeycomb and Barros Papier. Across to Foster. Thought about the steal, told to get out of it, ignores the referee, so gets the penalty advantage against him there for Benetton once more. Now Gumedi picks it up at the breakdown, knocks it on. They'll go back for the penalty though. Double penalty, Kate. Men, after last night's loss, says Ben. Yeah, it's definitely a loss that wasn't expected. But at the end of the day, I think if you asked anyone, that's kicked dead by Pollard. Oh no, never mind. The referee says it was just within the 5 meters. Looked pretty dead, but yeah, if you asked anyone, would you rather lose your game this week or lose the quarterfinal? I think everyone, I would like to think, would pick the loss now, but of course, it still doesn't make it feel any nicer for the team that does lose it. There's going to be the line-out chance here for the Bulls, not too far from the line at all, and that's close, that's over, or is it? No, the Bulls bounce back. It's picked up this time by Gumedi. I think they want to check this just to see how that ball is popped out, but it seems like it's going to be a try for Gumedi here. Initially, it looked like the rolling maul was going to be the option that they decided to go with, but then that ball just... Where does it... Oh, it's thrown back from Yandre Rudolph while he's in the in-goal area. As he was turned onto his side, so wasn't going to be able to get the grounding. Yeah, he chucked it in sideways and gave it a little bit of a trick play per se, I guess you could say. We have got there that comment, who screams so hysterically over the microphone, is in love with his own voice. The stadium microphone, that is. So I assume that's the what do they call them? The MC at the ground, I guess that is. That one for Andre Pollard has gone over. The try is scored and it is awarded. And now, just like that, and it's 64 minutes into the game, and this game's now fully in control. Is Hano at the game? He is indeed, yes. He is one of the 10,000 who are in attendance. Yeah, it was a weird rolling ball, but it was a smart play from Yandre Rudolph. Realised that he was going to be on his back in the in-goal area, so rather than getting held up or trying to do a big rotation, he just went, out, chuck it back, see what happens. And in the end, went straight into a teammate's hand. And Gumedi, he'll enjoy scoring that one because he has made a couple mistakes since making his way onto the field. He passed the ball into touch to no one. He also did have that knock-on not too long ago. And having a try to your name also looks a lot better in terms of the score sheet we have got there. Stormers don't want injuries. I don't think any side do, but to strategically lose a game because you don't want to get injured is definitely a tactic that hasn't been done too often. A random fact of the day, the DJ for Arsenal FC is a huge wrestling fan and frequently plays WWE theme songs through the PA for no reason, says Big Rick. Our right Hamish up by 21, 9 to go, with more than 15 minutes to spare. And one more try and a penalty, says Yanko. Yeah, they might consider a three-pointer right at the end of the game if it's going to wear down the clock, maybe. Plus, it would take them outside of that 3-try margin. I didn't notice Bulls got a try. See his cool story. Yeah, it was off the try of Gumidi just before. Should the Bulls also sack their coach, see his Ander? Yeah, the coach sacking thing's got a little bit out of hand, hasn't it? You see a side win a game, and people will still say coach needs to go. Or you see them win a title, coach needs to go. You know, the sides who are in 15th, 16th, 14th, whatnot, they're the ones who should be asking for a new coach. But I guess it's the whole thing of people expect perfection. And, like, if their side ever lose a game, it's the coach's fault. Reno Smith. Penalty has been won by Benetton, who will again kick this one towards the sideline. Or 2 more tries. I wouldn't say no to that, says Yanko. Anyone know what the URC record is? Most tries in a season. Bulls at 81, says Ben. They'd have it somewhere on that URC website, wouldn't they? And third try penalty conceded by the Bulls, says Jimbo. And also the Bulls will end in 59 and Leinster still have to play. Correct, yep. So Leinster have their game up against the Ospreys just around the corner. They are going to be kicking off in around an hour's time, or actually less than that, about 45 minutes' time. There is going to be another penalty advantage now, awarded in favour of Benetton. And, yep, another one. That time goes against Jan-Hendrik Wessels. Not doing my Super Brew much good. Yeah, well, many people expected the Bulls to win this game by over 30. And to be fair, if they score twice more, they still can. But seems like, again, Benetton are looking towards that corner and trying to find another way of scoring. They would get a bonus point if they scored one more in this match with the 13 minutes left on the clock. So if Leinster win, Bulls go 4th again. They'd go, 4th in the standings. 1 second. So bonus point win here would put them up to 59. And then Leinster would leapfrog both the Stormers and the Bulls if they were to win their game up against the Ospreys. Knock on from Benetton, though, at the rolling maul. Scrum for the Bulls. There's still a lot that can happen, though. Lions are safe. Munster are not. So Munster need 1 bonus point from their game, and that would put them ahead of Ulster due to the amount of wins that they've had. So even if they were to lose, they can still technically make their way through. But if they win their game, Munster, they can go as high as 56 points, which theoretically would put them up to, I want to say, 6th place. In fact, that'd actually be 5th place, which would mean that they'd play the Bulls at Loftus by winning their game. Without a bonus points differential, they would still get to play the Bulls at Loftus. So yeah, for Munster, either way, it was looking like a South African side if they get themselves a win. Now, Honeycomb breaking off the back. Although, actually, the Lions can cause disruption to that, because if Munster lose with 2 bonus points and the Lions get themselves... Oh, that's another knock-on, this time from the Bulls. I'll go back now for another scrum. But yeah, the Lions can technically go up into the 5th place position, which then, yeah, it's all very confusing. But the good news is, in about 5 hours' time, we will know exactly who is finishing where. Deep breath for the wingers, get the ball out of the scrum and run it in, says Yanko. Bulls will end up 4th and play Lions or Munster. Seems that way. Which I think they'd just be happy to have that home quarter final, to be fair. If it wasn't for the Stormers bonus point, they could have finished 3rd, but then it still would have been one of those 2 opposition, I believe. Now, another scrum feed penalty awarded to the Bulls, and that was against the feed. Okay, both front rows are getting called over to the referee, or Rudolph man of the match. He might be up there. Might get half a blink on Russie's radar. We have their Stormers get Lions, says Julian. And good morning, says Cats. Now, welcome in. Hope you are doing well. 10 minutes remaining in this contest. Currently a 21-point lead for the Bulls. Okay, so the referee there has just had a stern talking to both of the front rows, and they have pretty much agreed that they're going to try a little bit harder in the scrums to have a good picture. Whether or not that happens, the very next scrum we're probably going to see it collapse, but he did threaten to take someone off the field, maybe. Sergio Peterson was also very good on the wing. Says Ben, yeah, getting himself the double in the contest. Pollard's had a few try assists along the way, so he might get his name in the hat too. Papier, he said he had an alright game as a whole. I think the person who surprised me is Honeycomb. The fact that we've just hardly seen him. He's going to send them a strongly worded letter. Says Big Rig. Now line out here for Marco van Staden. Taken by Ruan Vermaak. Paul De Vet. Cross to the left-hand side, Yandere Rudolph. Charges forward again. De Vet. Uh-oh, there was a foot trip there. Or not really a foot trip per se, but he tripped over a player for Benetton. Wasn't an offside position, so it could have been an advantage. Now Marco van Staden builds up a bit of steam to go over the top of Fa'asa'o. Now De Vet. Oh, nah, he should have learnt from what he's seen earlier on in the game. He went for a box kick and it backfired and given the ball straight back to Benetton once more. Obviously, he was not watching the first 70 or so minutes when any time that the Bulls tried to kick him behind, it backfired on them. Stem in the hands. Winning the ball back, though, for the Bulls. The Bulls will win, says Julian Moses. Now, past across. That's nicely done by Gumedi. That one goes into touch. It's touched by both sides, but it seems like it's going to be the line out for Benetton. Take off Pollard. Give Willie some time at 10, says Ben. Is that for like backup just in case there's a Pollard injury for the playoffs or just for the sake of it? I feel like Billy's gone all right from 15. He's actually in the man of the match contender, so I wouldn't switch him around. I think I'd leave him there. We have got there, Amish. How do you find out the secondary accounts from each main account? If Ruth has a secondary account, you will know it is him. Well, Ruth's a female to start with. But yeah, there are ways of working it out. Your beard growed, says Jaden. It's probably going to get trimmed soon, though. It's getting a bit scruffy. Although we're heading into winter, so I'll get cold too, so that's unfortunate, really. 9 minutes remaining, 21 points difference between these two sides again. For now, the Bulls are third in the overall standings, but if Leinster get themselves the win over Ospreys, they will drop to fourth. That is the Bulls. They're just saying there about the points difference being 74. I think that URC, though, they base it off wins, don't they? In terms of who gets that little bit further up the standings. So because of that, I think Munster just need one bonus point rather than the two from their contest. Of course, they will be looking for the win. Hamish, do you know about this stuff since you were not good at math and average at computer science? Who said I wasn't good at math? I know I'm not good at algebra. I'll say that. As soon as letters get involved in maths, I struggle. But like statistics, I did pretty well as a whole. Wins first, says Royal Pie Man. You could shave yourself bald and become Stone Cold Kiwi Hamish. No. I think the buzz cut was bad enough. But we did that last year, so who knows? Maybe we'll do something this year as well. I don't think it will be too quickly that we decide to do it, though. We've got to wait for winter to pass first. Bulls will be very happy with their fourth on the log, or with being fourth on the log in the middle of the season. They were out of it at 11th and 10th. What is the time in New Zealand now? It is currently 3:40 a.m. New Zealand time. This game will be finished at around probably 3:50. Maybe if you shave your head, you'll be basically Daryl Mitchell. Yeah, although I can't bat as well as him, so it'll be a bit of a shame. You don't like that as a maths, but you're good at statistics. So like P-values and T-tests. Sianko. Now line out here for Gasparini. Obviously taken again by... Well, Benetton's line-out's been a bit 50-50, isn't it? They've had a few times that, that was almost obstruction. Although they've got themselves the penalty advantage. I think they're saying a tackle off the ball there. Yeah, it is. I don't think the player for the Bulls had much of a choice when Fa'asa'o is running full steam ahead of him. Now, rush defense from Honeycomb hasn't been able to shut down the back line, but that has. The next shot from Harold Foster. We have got there, you use your bald head to reflect the sunlight into the eyes of the bowler. And pull up the hoodie and give us the gangster look. No. I don't think there's anything gangster about myself. Even if I put the hood up, I just look the same. In fact, if I put the hood up, I think I'd look less of a gangster than I do now. And that's saying something, because I know for now, definitely not very gangster. The Stormers are very disappointing in the last 2 weeks. What are your thoughts? Probably slip 3 on the table. Yeah, although I'd still want a home quarter final. So at the end of the day, I'd be happy enough. Don't get me wrong, losing the game now, like I said, it's not ideal, but I'd rather lose this game as the Stormers than lose the quarterfinal. You know, they've had their bad game now. Now they can focus on 3 good performances, get themselves that URC title. But, yeah, you're better off losing now rather than losing later. Nice take there from Favoreto. The line out again. Still the 7 minutes remaining on the clock at the moment. I totally forgot you used to wear the tie and suit. Says Space Cow Energy. Yeah, that's been a little while since that's come out. Now, Yandre Rudolph again manages to get the steal. And the breakdown passes off to Paul Devet, who goes back into the pocket to Stravino Jacobs, who's got a mile of hair on that ball. It'll be a tough one to take, but Reno Smith made it look simple. Now, across there to Alessandro Garbisi, one in the 50-22. That was a ball kick. Goes straight down the throat of Andre Pollard. Now, Billy LaRue. He's looking for a 50-22 of his own, and it just goes outside of that 22-metre line, but still a very good territory gain for the Bulls here. Imagine the Bulls and Stormers both lose the quarterfinals, says Big Rig. Then it would all be down to the Lions, wouldn't it? Be able to carry the South African torch. But for one of them to lose at home would be a surprise. For both of them to lose at home would be very surprising. We have got there, Hamish, if New Zealand was a toxic country, would you be a bad guy? Probably not. I'd probably still do the same as what I do now. And Hamish, show us your pants. I haven't got pants on. I got shorts at the moment. But they're nothing exciting. They're just grey. Stormers rest. Don't worry, bang for Bezerings. Says Julian, now almost through with Stedman Hans. This game is not over yet. There's still time. Paul Devet waiting for the pass. Gives it to Jan Hendrik Vessels. 5 metres out from the line. Told to get out of there was Gasparini. Now Stedman Hans once more. Pollard calling the shots at the back of the breakdown now. Off to Francois Klopper. 3 metres short. Devet now popping it back. Andre Pollard spins. That's a great low tackle on him by Garbisi round the knees. Now, fun start, and that was a little bit of a chop tackle attempted there by Medina. Didn't look like a lot of arms involved. Big shot coming in again on Hendrik Vessels, and the steal and the breakdown was almost there for Benetton over the line. Ruanokia does get his try now. He had one cancelled out earlier on. He's fallen straight down on his face. Hopefully he's all right. Took a while to get back up there, Nokia, but that is now the try for the captain. Is Stedman Hans there? He is indeed, yes. And is going to be South African final. Check it. Says Shark. Well, there should be at least one South African side in the final because that's what's happened every year. Every single year of the URC has had one South African side in the final. The Bulls have been there 3 times. They've lost every single one of them. But they've at least been there for the chance, including ones that have been at home for this Bulls side. And as Hurricanes going to win the Super Rugby, their form is out of this world. They're going very nicely at the moment, the Canes. But of course, they still have to win the playoffs. And that is something that can be relatively tricky. Stormers rest. Where'd that go? Don't worry. Oh no, I read that one. And we have got, you want another Lukey Watson 2.0 for our Stormers friends. And Nokia limping for 20 minutes. He's a beast, says Jumbo. Yeah, as long as he doesn't risk any sort of bad injury here. We saw Tui Pilotu. He was almost too hard for his own good, or too tough for his own good in that game up against the Hurricanes. Whether or not he's caused some sort of longer-term damage to his shoulder, we will find out in the next week or so. And always reaching the final but never winning it. It feels like some kind of magical curse. And we have got there every year there has been a final. That is true. That's another factual statement. Now, kicked off. That one's going to be slapped back by Stravino. Jacobs, big run from Rudolph, gives it off to Ruan Nokia. Now past to Jan Hendrik Vessels. Seems like they're not done yet here, the Bulls. They want one more by the looks of it. Now back across to the right-hand side. Stemman Hansen was close to forward. Nice step from Sergio Peterson. They'll go back, though, for the forward pass. And haven't watched Super Rugby Pacific. I've been watching the NRL. How many rounds left till the knockout? Still 2 rounds remaining at this stage. Hamish, if someone did something really tragic and bad to you, it was your friend, would you forgive him and be his friend again? Depends on what it was. I feel like that's very much so circumstantial. You know, if they... I don't even want to go into examples, to be fair. And Stormers 4, what are your thoughts on the upcoming match between Munster and the Lions? Munster come in as favourites. Lions have been a pretty handy side, though. Their game last week up against Leinster, I don't think was a fair representation of that team's quality. But they are safe no matter what. Whereas at this stage, the Munster side are not. So that can also bring a bit of pressure. And Aka's going to play Nokia into the ground. As he made that Rassi calls Nokia to go to Japan. Says Ben. Hard to say, but I think he also just wants that captain out there. And Nokia's not going to be the type of player who would say, yeah, I'm ready to come off. He would just stay out there the whole time. However, their try time the Bulls, says Julian. And also, as it true, says Mohadim. What's true? What we talking about? How are the Chiefs doing? They're second at the moment in the overall standings. Now, wide cut pass from Benetton. That's dropped, and that's also forward, says the referee. Not quite working out for either of these sides when it comes to the wide cutout passes just at this point in time. 90 seconds now remain in this matchup, but it is a nice performance from the Bulls as a whole. And it's quite impressive in a way to say that the Bulls have got 45 points, but people have still felt like this wasn't a strong performance. If that makes sense, like they've had some very good moments, but they've also had a few errors along the way. So to still score 45 in a game like that puts them very nicely in position for those quarterfinals. 12 handling errors from the Bulls. That's a number that they will want to forget. You know Mark Goldbridge? He's the one who does the football streams, right? And how do you have baby hair on your head? Pube hair on your chin, like top deck, says Martin Meyer. Genetics, I guess, is probably the easiest answer and the scientific one. Now Paul Devet short side, back to Hanekom, gets through one. He's dragged down by Reno Smith in the end. Paul Devet calling for it was Jan Hendrik Vessels. In fact, no, it was Jandre Rudolph who wanted the ball. Now Foster, 10 metres out, Devet, the chance of the half century here. Pollard slinging it out wide, nice hands. Sergio Peterson headstand there for Stravino Jacobs. Feel like there weren't many arms involved in that tackle. Benetton get themselves the penalty, though, just out from their own line. You sound like a Red Roses fan now, says Hamish, says Big Rig. Yeah, like the criticism that we've seen for the Bulls in this game is, I guess, the scoreline doesn't represent it, does it? They won again by 25 plus. This was a poor performance, says Big Rig, and I hope the Bulls play iffy all matches and then peak for once in a final. Well, that's the thing. You've got 3 matches left for any of these sides in the quarters. You have to get your quarterfinal right, your semi-final right, and your final right. More than likely for these South African sides, they will be playing one of those 3 at home. The other 2 will be up north, and those will be the challenging games. As in the Sevens starting next week or the week after as when the Sevens comes in, so in about 12 days' time. In fact, a little bit less than that, I think. No, it must be about 12 days. Now, line out throw here for Benetton. Back across Reno Smith. He's tried the chip in mine, but it's worked here for Benetton. Oh, Dogwoo. Nice pass to Garabisi. Now moving it on the outside. Lewis Liner. Running forward. He looks like he's not running at full tilt at the moment. He's probably quite tired. Go to BC, went for the grubber and behind the Bulls. Don't have to grab that one. It's rolled into touch, and that is the end of the game. 45-19. And that will be in favour of the Bulls. Rugby is getting a bit boring now. Is it? I feel like now's the time to get excited about it because we're getting into playoff stages. We're getting into international rugby as well. This is normally the start of the season, or at least the time of the season where people start to take a bit more notice of the rugby competitions around the world. So Bulls have a home quarterfinal. Home, yep. So they will be at home, guaranteed now. They cannot miss out due to that bonus point victory. The Bulls win by 26, not quite 30 plus. And we have got there, well done the Bulls. How many tries here's been? So for the Bulls in this game, they scored themselves 7 tries. For Benetton, they got the 3. I guess have a tour coming up. See, here's Big Rig. And there as well, but nonetheless, that is the game for now, ladies and gents. The next one is Leinster versus Ospreys, although we aren't covering that one on the channel. Expecting a big win for Leinster in that one, but we will be back in around 2 hours and 40 minutes time. And that is going to be the contest between Munster and the Lions. That is going to determine the last of the positional switches that we can see in the top 8. So thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for that next one.